Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of my, I was going to say Facebook Lives, but it's not live. It's actually a video that I'm recording for you guys. About a topic that I want to share and that's really dear to my heart. For those who don't know me though, my name is Isabel Hunt. I am a certified transformation coach, public speaker, author of the published book, The Power of Faith-Driven Success, as well as emotions clearing practitioner. I am also considering myself an empath warrior, which comes with a lot of interesting skills and gifts and traits. But for those who don't know, empaths are really highly sensitive people. Our mirror neurons work differently than other people's who are not empath. And we often experience the world from everyone else's perspective and forget our own perspective. Now, the empath warrior, they're the special kind. They're the intro extroverts. They're not fully intro, they're not fully extro, and yet have those gifts and abilities, and then they get stuck real quick because they don't know what's going on and what to focus on. So I work with those clients mostly, and then I do my emotions clearing sessions. Today I want to talk with you about the importance of navigating through your emotional world in business. So this is for you if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner. We all know that being in business is an emotional up and down roller coaster. We're always kind of in emotion, how do you say that? Now I'm tracking. I just thought of it earlier. Going through the motion. There you go. We're always going through the motion. And especially when you're an entrepreneur, the decision to be an entrepreneur is already a very emotional one because often it was driven by a very big passion, by something that we feel needs to change, something that we feel we can help people, support people in what they do. And then we try to find our audience and try to create our products and our services, and all those things are coming together, and then things don't work out, and then things go really great, and we have all those interviews going on and all those things. So we know this up and down, it can get actually really exhausting. And because so many of us don't know what is going on emotionally and they're exhaust themselves emotionally, they give up within the first 5 years and say, okay, that's too much for me. Emotionally, I can't handle it. It's just not working. So I think emotions for entrepreneurs is even more important, and that's actually important for everyone. It's like, goodness gracious, it's your foundation, your house foundation. If it's cracked, your house won't make it very long. You won't make it very long. And that's why I'm so passionate about the topic of emotions, because I know it changes lives when we understand it. Again, but in our society, we have created definitions of emotions, or in terms of emotions, that are hurting us. They don't really support us. If we take a look at fear, I recently talked about fear. If we talk about sadness, grief, anger, all those things are occurrences in everyday life, if you're an entrepreneur or not. But we try to avoid them, we try to ignore them, they are bad, and then some are good. And we're literally chasing after happiness, after fulfillment. And in some cases, some of us, most of us, all of us actually, sell our soul to create happiness within ourselves. But often we rely on outside results to create our inside results, when it should be the other way around. Our inside world creates and reflects our outside world. And that's where emotions are coming in. And fear, we've talked about the meaning of fear before, if you heard me speak before. Fear, again, is one of the big ones, especially for entrepreneurs. And often we feel it, and it has us stuck, and we withdraw. We think, okay, everything is just wrong. We're going in the wrong direction. It's not going to work for me. Maybe I should totally switch, when it's probably and most likely all about just that next step that is outside of your comfort zone. So we often feel the emotion, but we act on them instead of reflect on them. And for business owners, if we really want to be successful and go up that ladder and really have that impact that we're dreaming about, then we need to reflect more. I always say that when people come to me like, it feels like I'm going one step forward, two steps backwards, it's actually not quite true. Or some do if they don't reflect, if they forget the reflection part. But it is actually one step forward and two steps inward. And the higher we go up that ladder, or the more we're out there, the more we present ourselves, the more we have to go inward. And every time I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I'm going up that next level, and I'm starting to sweat, there's some anxiety coming up, I need more support. And that's, as a business owner, I have my own coaches that kind of carry me through, help me to reflect if I can't do it myself. But you can also do it yourself, again, if you understand and know the power of emotions. Again, when we feel fear in business, that usually is an indication that you're ready for that next step. Hey, take that next step, get outside of your comfort zone. But we also can't neglect sadness and grief, because in business, that can be part too. Our business is our baby. And sometimes when we start something, we have a vision, and then things change, and we're still working on it, and we're realizing it's not working. Like, for example, when I created about 5 years ago, oh gosh, it's been 5 years. I created my first online program. I did everything everyone said, exactly. Sales page looked really good. The copy was pretty good. Like, everything looked good, and nothing worked. It was cricket. Just people that I was close with that signed up for it, and they all said it was awesome, it was great, but I couldn't get a handle on getting it to the public, to people. And at some point I had to let go of it, and I was so resistant of letting it go that I lost so much money by not being able to let it go. Then if I would have just realized, okay, what needs to be done, I was disappointed, but I also was sad, and there was grief within, and I didn't know at that time really what I was experiencing. I was just, again, going through the motion. Now looking back, I know it was grief, and grief is, when we reflect on it, that something needs to be let go. And when we have something created that's our baby, it's hard to let go, and we have to mourn it, we have to grieve it, because let me tell you, I did not do this. And over the last 5 years, I was just dreading any kind of online program. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it, it's not gonna work out, it's not gonna happen. And people were like, Isabel, I want you to create a course on emotions. I want to have something that I can follow along, that I can work through, so I can have more awareness and reflect better on what's going on and get to the point where I want to get to faster. It's like, yeah, no, just work with me. And at some point I got to a plateau where time-wise I couldn't add more. Sure, I could have increased all my prices, but it just didn't feel right for me. And so I was like, okay, God, I don't know what to do. And I just heard that create this online course. And I had such a resistance to it. And then I had to reflect on it. It's like, okay, I know what happened. The grief from the other project got stuck within me. We'd call it trapped emotions. And from there, I was hitting a wall. I was always hitting against it, because I needed to grieve that loss first before I was able to move forward. So I needed to take that time and let go and release some of those trapped emotions around those projects that didn't work out, that pretty much sucked, and I lost about $30,000, if not more than that, and that's a lot of money when you start out in business. So that pain, again, that also is relation to my money blockages, or was related to my money blockages. And I had to work through this grief, and I really had to mourn that loss, that disappointment, that experienced failure. Again, it wasn't truth, it was just a learning experience, but still the experience was failure. So I had to work through this to really get the motivation going, and to be able to create this new program where people are already like, when can I sign up? What can I do? And how can I do it? How can I help you to launch it? And that is, I didn't expect that. So I had to work through some of that grief of letting that project go from 5 years ago. It got stuck, and it just came back over and over. That is just one example of how emotions and navigating through your emotion is so important so we can move forward faster and really hear the messages that for what is next for us. And then I already talked about that another time, I think, but one event was when I was in high school. For those who don't know, I grew up in Germany and I went to high school in Germany, and we had English class, and I really, really hated English. I was not good at it. I was dreading it, and I had to do a presentation in front of everyone. And I didn't feel ready. I was like, I can't do it. I don't feel ready. I have to prepare more. And I asked to postpone. And my teacher was like, no, you don't, because if you do postpone, then this means you are getting a D. I pretty much failed in that. And so I started to really break down. I was probably 14, 15 maybe. So I was older, and so I started to emotionally break down. I started to cry, to sob. Like, I had a total meltdown in front of the class because I was so afraid of being in front of the class and panic, and I felt humiliated and embarrassed at the same time. And oh my gosh, I mean, I still had to do it, and I actually did really well. I ended with a B. But I wasn't aware of that. And now, being a speaker, I started to reject speaking engagements. I started to not listen when I felt like, oh, I want to apply for that, or I want to submit my speaking topics. I didn't do it out of fear I wouldn't be prepared fast enough and good enough. And so I had to reflect on that in my business. What is it that is going on emotionally that keeps me from taking that next step? And then the story totally came to mind where I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly it. It's from that event. Like, I really asked God to just show me where the emotional relation is to me not being able to move forward in my business. And so I had to let go and release some of those trapped emotions from back then, which were, part of them I know was fear and humiliation. And I forgot what else. There were a couple that got trapped. And I could feel how now I'm more open. I was like, I'm so super excited to actually get on stage. The stage experience for me is not the problem. For me, it's getting up there and thinking I'm not prepared enough. And so now I feel more free to say, hey, this is me. This is what I offer. This is what I have prepared. Is that in interest of your event? And within just a few days, I sent out a couple submissions and got some requests and all that kind of fun stuff. But I realized how that was really influencing me. Money blockages. There are so many money stories that we're growing up with. You have to work hard to make money. You have to manipulate people to make money. Like, all those different stories that people have trapped within themselves, so that they subconsciously believe keeps them from moving forward in their business. And that is something to realize. Hey, what is it? It's a really disempowering relationship to money. So why am I always stopping when I have to take myself to the next level? And there might be some sadness around this, because we have to go deep within. And sadness is a place where we can take a break and just reflect really truly within. We can't really run away from it. It's almost like our body makes us stop, saying, hey, let's take a minute to reflect. Let's see what's showing up. What do you need to let go of? And often it's related to beliefs and stories that we have. So when sadness shows up in your business, know that there might be something that you need to let go of, stories that you need to work through, and where the energy is still hanging around you. So each emotion, even in business, has a very powerful meaning. If you are someone who experiences a lot of anxiety in business, then be aware that is often something where you're running against your true calling or your purpose. You're not paying attention to your needs. You might totally outwork yourself, and at some point your body is like, but we're nervous system done, we're shutting everything down for a while, so you actually get a forced break. That is what anxiety is in a nutshell about. And everything is something to listen to. Everything is an every emotional experience is one step closer towards your goal as a business owner. Again, especially if an entrepreneur, there's a lot of emotions going on because we're taking care of everything at the same time. especially if you're starting out. If you're not at this point where you can delegate, once you are able to delegate, trust me, it gets a little better and easier, but still, everything has a message. Sometimes some of the emotions, like anger, actually tell you need to give it to someone else. Trust me that the money will be available, but you need to trust. It's like this divine voice, this God voice inside me. Trust me. I know you're angry. That means you have to reestablish your boundaries. Your boundaries could include delegating to someone else, asking people for support, hiring someone that can support you emotionally. Anything like that, it's all there. You just need to listen very quietly and not follow every single blueprint that you can find out there. Your emotions are an amazing guide. And when we really learn to listen to it, we can create much more impact in this world. We attract different people into our business because we don't get stuck with all the emotional crap. And then it doesn't get stuck within your body over a long period of time. Again, when emotions get trapped within our body, the energy of it, because everything is energy and has a frequency, a vibration, that impacts your physical, emotional, and mental health. And so being aware of that really helps you to move through it faster, reflect, oh yeah, I have to grieve this, I have to let go of it, it's my baby, I know, but I need to let it go and grieve and mourn it and just be able to be with it to take on the next project. Anger, okay, I feel angry, like why is it? Okay, I think I know why, because I know personally that my boundaries have shifted. I need to delegate some of the stuff that I know I need to, like give to other people that I'm not really great at. I feel sadness. Okay, so maybe I just need a timeout real quick and reflect what's going on. What is the sadness about? What are stories and beliefs that I need to let go of? I feel fear. Oh, yes, and we talked about that. Welcoming in fear is actually great because it tells you, hey, you're ready for that step outside of your comfort zone. Trust me, have the confidence to move. If we fear, that just means we don't really trust our divine guidance, co-creating with God, and we trust ourselves, and we don't have the confidence to move forward. So every emotion has a very specific meaning, and when you don't listen, it can cost you profit really fast, and it costs you time, and time we know is money, so it is all involved and can really make a huge difference in your business. So again, I hope this gave you some thoughts and some ideas, and maybe you already can reflect on some things that you're experiencing emotionally. And I also want to mention that I'm super, super psyched about this launch of the emotions course in March. If we're staying on track right now, we are on track with everything, so that's great. We don't have the exact date yet, so stay tuned. It's called The Empowered Warrior, a simple guide to successfully navigating through your emotional world. And that really can, the experience of that, like changing your relationship to what you feel, changes your relationship to other people, to your clients, to money. It changes your relationship with yourself. It changes the relationship to success. Like all of that is impacted by your emotional world. So I'm super, super excited about it, and I hope you stay on track. You can sign up for my newsletter on my website, isabelhunt.com, to stay updated on what's next and what is ahead. So I hope, again, this helped you some reflection. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. Have a great day. Bye.